And hello. Um, Today I'll be live streaming about LSPs, language server protocols, and how hard can it be, right? So I spent most of today fighting Go LSP, Go PLS, and that gave me an idea. Instead of fighting it, let's try to understand what the LSP is and see if we can write a language server. Now, in my day-to-day job, I work with GraphQL quite a lot. I work for dgraph, and yeah, it would be nice if you can have a language server for GraphQL. There is a bit of intricacies with regards to this because you often need to be connected to a live server to have a schema. Um, but you know what? We'll learn. I don't really know how LSPs work, but yes, we'll learn together. All right. So let's switch over to my Emacs. On my right window, I actually loaded the LSP specification. The website's here, listed on the top, and I've been looking at it, and it's quite clear to me what LSP basically is. An LSP is basically a server. The LSP server is basically a server that uses JSON RPC to talk about code. And so I thought to myself, hey, JSON RPC is pretty simple. So let's try building something. This stream will go on for an hour, and as a test stream, I've never done something like this before. So yeah, let me set my timer. We're good to go. So when you hear the timer, that means I'm done. That's done for the day. So like I said, an LSP server is basically a server that deals with JSON RPC. I've downloaded the very good source graph JSON RPC package, which you can check it out from here. github.com/source graph/JSON RPC2. And that's basically it. Actually, I should have pulled the code doc. Yeah. So ekg.go.dev/github.com. So we're going to use the JSON RPC2 package from SourceGraph to basically help build our server, and we'll call it GraphQL SP. This menu is basically this workspace is completely empty. This is the first file I've created, and we will refactor our program as we go along. But for now, we're just going to put our well, this should be a main, shouldn't it? Yeah, this should be a main. So this should be in a main package. Well, now this gives you an idea of where things are going. So in the main package, you have a server, right? And the server will have a bunch of things, a bunch of, I guess, things that's got to do with GraphQL. As for GraphQL, I'll be using the vector GraphQL package, GraphQL parser package, to actually parse GraphQL. And let's see. So we've got a server. We don't know what to put in there yet. We just leave it empty for now. And yeah, so let's think. So it needs to handle methods, and I was struggling with a few methods this morning, specifically text document slash publish diagnostics. So let me just load up the GraphQL, not GraphQL, the LSP again. So let's go here. And this is the 3.16 spec. Very good. Okay. Yes, the URIs, that's pretty standard. documents. There you go. The text document is basically the initial method that you're going to be dealing with most of the time. Servers do handle methods. Right, so let's think about it, how we solve this. Okay, so and what would the server handle? A server would handle some JSON RPC requests. It requires a context because, you know, everything, you should probably use context with everything. And if you're not familiar with JSON RPC, you need connection and you need a request. So let's see if we can do anything here. Right. Eclot's not working. Okay. Eclot organize imports. There you go. Quite sure this is should be a. Right. Yeah, my experience with JSON RPC is very limited. I did some things in the past with JSON RPC. I'm not very good at JSON RPC. I don't do it on a day-to-day basis because my former day job used to be all about machine learning, and right now I'm dipping my toes into graph and graph databases for some good reason, right? So this is what the handler would look like. It should probably return something. I'll think about it. Yeah. So let's look at the request. It has a method, parameters, the ID. Don't care about ID. Not right now anyway. Okay. So we probably have to have this as a switch table. And now let's look at what needs to be there. Text document is one of the things. This morning I did handle, I played with, I was having trouble with text document. Slash, it open. Text document. Slash, did save? I was trying this morning to build something on top of the Go PLS, and I discovered that publish diagnostics is actually something that the server sends to the client. I'm using Emacs, so my client is eglot. Yeah. So these are one of the things I was working on, but let's look at what other things they have. Location, blah blah blah. Command, yes, a command. Ooh, this sounds fun. Text edit. Workspace edit. Ooh, it's a lot of work. Text document item. That's the text document. So there's none. There's no identifier for GraphQL. Interesting. Good to know. I get to set my own, I guess. That's pretty fun. Okay. I think there's also something like initialize, right? So initialize request. Yes, yes, yes. Not. And oh yes, servers would have capabilities. Yes. Okay, so when you start, you should have an initialize method, I guess. And with an initialize results. Okay, okay, an initialize param. Oh dear me. This is a lot of stuff. Okay. Params. These are the parameters. Client info. Yes. Version. Yes. Okay. Locale string. All right. All right. So let's try this. We're gonna write an initialize method just to initialize the server, I guess. So let's see what this request have. We can pass the parameters in this parameters. Oh, that's a raw JSON. So if it's empty, if it's nil, we can say it's no. So if request.params is nil, then we will say there's an error. So basically when this happens, it tells me that that the client fucked up. So yeah. So now we know that we have to return an error somewhere. That's pretty good to know. Uh-huh. Now what? So let's look at the initialize param. Process ID, integer or null. We'll put a JSON tag. We might as well do it now. Okay. Client info. Name. String. JSON. Name. Oh yeah, we probably have to export these, right? Yes, we probably have to export this. Otherwise, we'll have to write custom marshalizers, and that'll be very upsetting. We've got version, also a string. Why is there a question mark? Anyway. Does this work? Yes, locale and stuff like that. Locale. Oh, this is the boring stuff, right? So you're basically marshalling and unmarshalling data, which is pretty boring. I wish there was a process where you can just skip this, and yes, granted, you can use a generator to generate all these, and I'm not sure if I would want to do that. But if I were, say, working on this on a like marshalling structs and unmarshalling structs on a very regular basis, then yes, I'll probably do something like I'll probably have a generator. But for now, I don't mind writing this manually. Yeah. So client info. Okay, so anything that's a question mark here can be omitted, can be null. Okay, we don't have to worry about this. Then we can just bye bye. Root path. Okay, root URI is not now. Okay, what's a string? Which is right. Document URI is a string, so we'll write some to-dos here. The reason why I'm doing this is so I can skip all the things with question marks in here and then come back to it one day to refactor it when I'm actually refactoring this. But for now, I'm basically just trying to have a sketch of a program. If I can initialize this server by the end of the night, by the end of the hour, I'll be very happy. Not necessarily that will happen, but yeah. So root URI is required. Initialization options is required. Any is the worst. Capabilities. So that's okay. So we'll have to create a new type. Oh, client capabilities. That's interesting. Something. We'll come back to what client capabilities are later. Maybe. Well, the thing is you can just stub these things and it should work. Trace. Okay, trace goes in here. Workspace folders. So these are the only thing that you need, which is nice. You don't really need a lot. So that's nice. Don't I need to tell the clients what I can do? Okay, initialize may only be sent once. So okay. This is for all right. So then now we can do this, right? We can unmarshal the params, the raw params, and my eglot just died. So yeah. So we can initialize the parameters. Was it rec dot params and into params not equals new errors. We should always keep our yeah, one of the things with language servers is that they keep failing. For example, you keep seeing me pulling up eglots all the time, and it's quite clear that at this point it does not want to actually there you go. Now you will shut up. Okay. It would appear that I do not have package error somewhere on my that's weird. Anyway. I should have errors imported. I mean, I love errors. So anyway, so what I'm doing off screen is I am go getting package errors, which is weird. Anyway, so what does this return? What does initialize return? Until the server has responded with an initialized request result. Client must not send any additional requests or notification. Okay, so let's look for initialized result. So initialized results is this. Okay, with this in mind, we've got this. So now we can go up here and create a new const. Right, so what we can do is we can do a go build and then use the linker to actually replace the version with an actual version number, an actual tag when we build it. But for now, we just leave it as untagged, and when we create an initialized result, we'll just populate the version with the constant version up there. Capabilities, that's what we need. This is the hard one, right? So capabilities, server capabilities. I'll probably need omit NT on all of these JSON fields, but we'll come back to them later. All right. So what do I want this server to actually have? I want this server to be able to actually, well, formatting code I'm probably not going to do. I want the hover bits. Hover bits nice. So I think it's called hover provider. Hover provider. Not hover provider. Okay, we'll look at what server capabilities. There you go. That's a lot. They're all question marks. So defines how text documents are synced. Yeah, so this one is very interesting. Text document sync. You can actually sync it in what do you call it? You can sync it all in one shot or not. Or you can have like incremental syncs. I'm very curious to see how I can actually take advantage of Vector's GraphQL parser to actually do an incremental parse of this. This should be quite interesting. So yeah, sync. Let's just try with text document sync. I want this in, so I'm just keeping it. And we'll create a new enum type. Well, Go does not really have an enum, but we can take it. So text document sync type, and JSON text document sync. I will sync type int. Yes, that works. Full. And incremental. Oh, it's called text document sync kind. Okay, so I'll just rename this. One thing I noticed when I was reading the LSP one thing I noticed when I was reading the LSP specification was that it was very VS Code focused. So if you are not actually using VS Code, you're going to miss out on some things like CodeLens. It's a very VS Code thing. Um, Interesting. There you go. Hover provider. That's the one I'm looking for. That's the fancy one. Hover provider. Should I do completion? Completion is going to be hard because you need to actually register your GraphQL schema somewhere, and part of the LSP is that you want to actually write schemas as well. So the schemas can be on a server, a live server like slash GraphQL, which is slash.dgraph.io, or you can have a schema on a local file. That's pretty interesting. You know what? I'm going to add this as a capability. It's pipe dreams, but you know what? Okay, completion options. We'll come back to this. What? Let's Yep, the server will provide additional support to resolve additional information for the completion item. Resolve provider. Oh, provider. Nice. All right, trigger characters probably useful. Right. Work done progress options. Great. Now we have to actually go and figure out where this thing is. Nope. Work done progress options. I don't know why my search is not working. So, right, it's Okay. Interface. Bam. Work done progress. What's work done okay, you know what? What? Okay. This is very janky. Okay. So we've got a completion provider. Where were we? Yes, we were back at server capabilities. Export it, I see. Signature help. What's a signature help? I'm going to put this in to do. Go to declaration. Would it be useful? Not really. I mean, when you think about how you write GraphQL, you're writing a query for most times, right? So you just need the schema to help you complete the rest of your things. There's no such thing as a type signature or a type definition. The type definition is in the schema itself. Would it help? Okay, so definition and declaration and type definition. Right, so I'm going to put the thing under type definition provider, right? So if you're looking for something that's in the schema, that's going to be in the type definition. So let's run this and put it under type definition. Type definition provider. Well, if they allow bool, let's do it bool. Let's make it easier for ourselves. Implementation, there is. So with implementation, that should be very interesting because GraphQL does actually have interfaces, but interfaces are really in GraphQL, interfaces are more like object extensions more than the interface that we're more familiar with, like a contract that has for this method. In GraphQL, it's like has this field that's an interface. Yeah, we can add it in, I guess. Not that it's very useful. I mean, it's very useful for when updating the schema, and you'll be hopping in and out of your schema files. Find references, document symbol support. That's interesting. Let's do document symbol support. Oh, document highlights provider. Do I want to do code highlighting? I think code highlighting, like syntax highlighting is just nonsense. But most people would find it useful. Oh, code action now. That's the beauty, right? Like this, when I do eglot organize imports, it's basically um asking the LSP to do a code action, which is to say use go imports. What's document link option? Color provider. Oh yeah, yeah, document formatting provider. Look, I would love to have like a GoFirm for GraphQL, but not sure. I mean, I've seen a lot of the algorithms out there, and they're just gnarly and ugly and really ad hoc. You know. Then again, text formatting and line breaking, where deciding where to break a line is one of the hardest problems in computer science. Do I want to tackle it? Yeah, sure. I'll put it in my to do. It's a nice to have thing. So, oh yeah, we'll also do the document. This is highlights. So most of these would be when the server boots up for the first time for end of today, it should be, you know, false for all of them. So there you go. I spelled completion wrong. Document formatting provider. Document range formatting. So that's when you can select a region of text and then just go from that region. That's a bit much. I'm not going to do that. Document on type formatting provider. Again, this is like when you have when you press enter, when you start one of these and you press enter, it in an indentation, it basically indents for you. I don't want to do that. Rename provider. Now that's interesting. Okay, folding provider. That's interesting, right? Folding range provider, it tells you whether your code can be folded. This really depends on how good the vector/GQL parser is. I've put in a pull request because it didn't handle certain characters very well, and I built a fuzzing tool to actually find what characters it's supposed to handle but did not actually handle. Execute command provider. Now, execute command provider, it would be very nice if you can just execute your GraphQL from it. If you've not noticed, I don't really like Node.js or Node.js related stuff. So I don't actually use things like Insomnia. I would I don't know. I would love to have something like, okay, you know what? Let's just do this. Execute command provider. So whatever that's in the to do here and the to do here are things that I want to think about doing maybe in the future. And these are things that I definitely want to do. Will not complete them tonight, most likely. Yeah. Selection range, linked editing, hierarchy, call hierarchy, semantic token provider. Now that's interesting. So what the semantic token provider does is it tells you that this, if I highlight this, then the server would say this section of code is actually a type, a type. Whereas if I do this, highlight this, and the server would tell me this section is actually a type definition. Not sure if it's useful, but yeah. Now, workspace is quite important because you're not likely to be working on just one file of GraphQL. You're probably going to have like a GraphQL.schema or something, schema.graphql. And then your queries, as you write them, you write them. Look, I think the way I'll think about this is that this LSP is helpful to people who are writing queries and updating on writing schemas. So the capabilities have to be, related to those two tasks. And the one thing that I found when I was writing queries is that I don't know what fields the schemas provide. And that's where the completion and hover things come into play. So, and when you think about these things, so what you want to do is you want to set up a workspace with a schema file, a schema.graphql file somewhere locally. And then when you write a query, you can just look it up, or you can write, or you can set the schema to be somewhere, say slash GraphQL, for example, online on the internet. And when you do this, the LSP will go online, fetch the schema, and do all these completion stuff for you. So on the one hand, you need a workspace. On the other hand, you need an endpoint, so to speak. Okay, so the workspace is all about files and folders and directories. I'm wondering if you can actually hijack this and use this. Okay, let's just search for this, shall we? Okay, supported, change notification. Right, this thing has no markers. Okay, we're not going to deal with the renaming stuff. We're not going to rename files. Those are simple to do. I don't believe that you're going to write a query that's so complicated that will, yeah. Okay, so we've got a basic type, and now we can go back here. This is we're working backwards on our stack. All right, we should probably initialize result. So this would now return and initialize. Oh no, it will have to return two things. It return a JSON string here, representing whatever data structures that you have. So you know what? Let's just return bytes and error. So in this case, we'll return nil. And then errors. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I'm attending to some chats. So when you initialize, okay, so sync.once requires, oh no, we don't need sync.once then. You just need to say whether it's initialized. All right. Now we've unmarshaled the parameters. And now we can just say, yep, return, wait, result would be initialize result. And the server info capabilities, we'll pull out server capabilities and see what server capabilities that we want to have. All right. So these are the server capabilities that we have. What am I doing? Okay, so text document sync. So the most important one that we want to have is text document sync, and we'll say, for now we'll do full. It would be nice to have everything else will have false, and it would be nice to have completion option. Yes, completion option. It's completion provider. We have completion option. You know what? We can just do this. I believe that's the case. You can do that. Nope, you can't do that. Okay, completion option. True. Resolve provider and trigger characters. No, hang on. What's this? Work done progress option is actually a type. Work done progress, yes. Sorry, this is resolve provider and trigger characters. Resolve provider. Now false for now. Now usually Go would have a default value for bools, which is false, but I'm putting him here because I want to actually remind myself to actually put it in. And trigger character. So what could trigger yes. So when you open a brace, it triggers the fields. How should I trigger? Maybe this? I don't know. The point is this is temporary. It's so these are all temporary stuff, right? So we'll come back to them eventually. For now, we just put this as a trigger character. The open curly brace as a trigger character. And the rest, I will leave them as false. So the rest of these bools are all false. I will come back to them when I'm ready to work on them. Yes, that's correct. Right. And is that it? No, JSON RPC actually, I don't remember. Do I need to actually return this? Okay, where do I return this? Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, we'll come back to this in a bit. So we'll just go to flash source graph, and we'll look at how it's supposed to work. Types server handler. Okay, so this is a handler. I got this correct. The server is a handler. And then there's something with errors. What's it called? Okay, anyway, let's see how this works. I don't really remember. There you go. Handler with error. Handler with error? That's the one, I think. So you create a new connection, you create a new server. Create a new request. And then there's also this, I forgot. Which you can use. Yep. So this is actually useful for returning the response. So you know what? I just need to return an interface here. Okay. So, sorry. That's done. Then once we start this, we can also have a shutdown, which is, I believe, shutdown. I'll check later, but I believe the command, the method is called shutdown. So when you shut down, what do? You kill the, you don't return anything. So you just, nothing. Do shutdown stuff. So the reason why I'm putting this here is because eventually I think I'm going to have to do something like this, which will allow you to have an endpoint and then you can communicate with the server somewhere. I'm guessing. Yeah. Now what? I don't know why this is erroring. Ah. You know what? Let's just make this server info. Ta-da! And we can keep this quiet. Okay, now let's see what other interesting things that we want to do. shut down server, which is what I do a lot when I reconnect. Case exit, kill the server. And now we have a default case. Like all good tables, you should have a default case. So let's what's the command? Okay, so did open, did save. Hooks, basically, if you're familiar with hooks, basically they're a pre-save hook and a pre-open hook. Now we want to actually also support hovers, right? So what's the name? Text document hover. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Right. Text document hover. What's it called? Yeah, I'm falling asleep. Been awake since I actually went to sleep at 4 a.m. So, what do I want to do? What do I want to go to LSP? That's the one. Nope. Specification 16. Right. So next document slash over. There you go. Text document hover. Text documents completion. Okay, for those, we're gonna have to return things, and yeah, thinking. So with regards to hover, okay, you know what? Let's just test to see if this thing builds, right? Yep. So eglot organize reports. There you go. $53.1. Function main is not. Yes. So I forgot this is actually main. This should probably move to something like a package called LSP or something. Yeah. We'll call it main.go for now. Package main. Yeah. So what does this do? This builds a new server. It built server is new, and Create a new server first. We probably need a stop function. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to move the server into a different package. But for now, we'll just keep this here. I'll move it some other day. When we're not on the air. I'm only gonna dedicate 1 hour a week or so on this project, so maybe a few for me a few more hours. I don't know. Time is precious. And this only gets I'm only working on this because I was so upset with the LSP this morning. So yeah. Okay, so I'll create server stop. And that's it. Our stream stops right now. Thank you for being here with me. I don't think I've been particularly helpful. Uh, but hey, I've you know what? Let's continue for a bit more. And build it up so that we know how this main thing will actually run. How's that? How does that sound? Yeah. So let's go back to nope. G source graph. And the thing about this is I need a new connection of sorts. Am I right? New con. So there you go. You need a context, you need an object stream, a handler, which we've got a handler, we've got connection options, and then you've got a connection. It's an object stream. Ah, there you go. They've got a buffered stream. Excellent. Right closer. Codec, we'll use the VS Code codec. So JSON RPC2.vs VS Code object codec. Here you go. Type. It's a struct. Okay. So what is this read write closer? Reads from standard in. No, reads from standard in and outputs to standard out. I'm lazy. So what does this buffer thing did? Buffer stream. Read write closer. You know what? Let's try this. I can show you guys this really cool thing, right? So you can go info. X io dot io ish X. Anyway, there's this thing called impl. Ta-da! Impl is excellent. So we'll just call os.standardin .read, I believe, p, and then return this. And os.standard out, right? And well, do nothing, you don't do anything, right? You just close. Can you close standard in? You can. Can you close standard out? Yeah, you also have to close standard out. So ideally, you do not want to do this. You want to actually have an error type that is a list of errors, I guess. You know what? So there we have it. We've got a read-write closer. We've got a context. Oh yeah, we'll build a connection. So we've got context, a stream, handler, which is the server. We'll deal with the options thing later. And that's it, right? You have to disconnect notify. There's something called disconnect notify. There you go. Disconnect notify. Just pull it out here. And that's it. Once you're done, it's done. Stream. Oh yeah, RWC equals to X. Yeah. Pages handler. The server not have a handler? And this. So let's look at this handler thing one more time. Handler. Handler is something with a context, yes, a connection, and a request. Oh, it doesn't return anything. Now that's interesting. I thought it returned something. Huh. Oh yes, I remember this now. So handler is equals to this one rpc2 dot handler with error server dot handle. Is that how I did it? Handler. Oh, it's running. It's running without any errors. There you go. Okay. Now we just need a way to test it. And that will be a story for another day. Thank you for joining me on this stream. I will see you next time. Bye.